tomorrow we're going live with Jeffrey Emmette, who is a father in the Auburn City School District in Auburn, New York. He is the parent of, how many children do you have in school, Jeff?
I have 2 kids in school, 3 total.
Okay, 2 kids in the public school system, in which time Auburn decided to go virtual, yes?
Yeah, over the summer, I was traveling and they were doing an option of full remote learning or a hybrid model where students went to school 2 days a week and then did remote 3.
Right. And so you opted for virtual.
Absolutely, because to me, like, number one, why am I going to get this just craziness? They had moved my one child with an IEP and that needed to go into a 15-to-1 setting to a different school in our district that, where I live, I mean, my kids couldn't go to that school, but they moved him and I wasn't happy about it. They were adopted. There's major behavioral challenges, especially just when it comes to school. He does not like it. He gets separation anxiety. So he finally just started getting comfortable this past year where I wasn't having to go pick him up a couple times a week. And then they were going to switch him to this other building, which I mean, I don't know, because now Auburn, we have the principal at Seward, the principal at Herman, and then we have a principal for the remote academy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who I'm supposed to answer to.
Okay, so let me ask you this, right? So just so everybody listening can get a little bit of a background, Jeffrey owns a home in Auburn. It's a very beautiful, large home. I know Jeffrey personally and have been to his house. And during this pandemic, towards late summer, Jeffrey went to his aunt's house because she had bought another home. And you there?
Yes, sorry.
Bought another home. And so Jeffrey was staying in her old home and renting his home out as Airbnb, right? So
I just started that.
Right. But even still, I know that I'm bringing that up only because I know that that was meant as a dig. But like, let's talk about that because it's COVID. You're not working, essentially. You're with your kids all the time. You pay taxes to live there. The school district gets federal money for your kids to go there. And you're completely remote. Your kids are up to date on school. They're logged in every day at the times that they're supposed to. Their work is up to date. As soon as schools are fully open, they're going to be back in school, yes?
Absolutely. I mean, the only reason why we got to do this was because they were remote learning. Otherwise, we'd be at home. I mean, during the summer, like, I'll take off on a non-pandemic year. But with this, like, I lost all my Airbnb bookings. The kids that I watched, because I had a daycare for 10 years that I closed, but you could still legally have 2 kids. So I was doing that on the side. I had a stand-up series about to run in Auburn that it happened. It was set to go March 14th or the 17th. And it got everything got canceled.
Right.
So, it's been kind of nuts. And when the opportunity came to like come down and hang out with my aunt that the kids haven't really got to see, she came up right before they were adopted. But they haven't got to see her since. When she was up, I was sick, like horribly. So, they're getting to spend time down here. We're in the woods. We're segregated. We're isolated. We're in the mountains. There is nothing near us. It's,
you're going to stay healthy in a pandemic. You're healthy.
Right. There's no, in the county that we're in, there's COVID cases, but there's not really anywhere we are.
Okay.
So I felt like this was okay. Like, I don't mind taking them there. We're safe. We're isolated. The only time we leave, like the compound, it's to go to Walmart where they drop the bags in the trunk. I don't take them in stores. I didn't at home. They didn't leave the house. We're here, like, we have a golf cart. They're on the golf cart. They're going four-wheeling with my aunt and uncle. They were in the lake last weekend because it was warm enough down here. We couldn't do that at home. And frankly, the last couple of years of our lives have been a living hell. So it's like, well, we deserve this. And they're remote learning. So cool. We don't have to be home.
Right. It is. And I have to say that. And part of the parents' frustration that I see is the failure on some ends. Luckily for you and your kids, it's been working out for you. Great, you know, but there's so many students, so many children who still can't connect to Wi-Fi, who still don't have the equipment. They're in a challenged position where the families are already poor. They don't have money to go out and supply these things for themselves, for their children. And the school, many like Syracuse City school districts have already been paid to give every child a laptop, but yet they still don't have the laptops, and we're already this far along. I mean,
we've
some
finally
kids have not gotten their services. It is a whole mess. So when I hear a story with you now having another issue with public schools, and you know me, I already pulled my right and said, I'm done with this. Okay.
Right.
I got a taste of what homeschooling was. And I realized that it doesn't matter what my job is, what shift I work. Okay. I can actually do this with my kid, and I don't have to be the teacher. There is so many great, even free programs that will teach your kids in a way that it's so much greater than what my daughter was ever learning or being challenged in public school. She's so far advanced now.
Can we just talk about that for a minute? Like, why did New York
And I don't have to log into Zoom appointments when someone else tells me to. If a typical day for us starts at 8 and we're done by 12:30 with all of her stuff, including extracurriculars until she goes off to sports or something else in the afternoon, you know, she gets a little break time in between. But that's all it really takes each day for us to, or her even. She barely needs my help. You know, it's just like, you know, our kids are so into technology. This is easy for her. And she's able, if she doesn't get it, she just can go look up the answers or look how to figure something out and learn just like that without having to wait till after school for extra help or, hey, Mom, what is this? Oh, look this up real quick or read about this, you know. And then when we go places, it's like, now this is school. When I have her out back helping me in a garden, it's now school, you know, helping me cook. It's now school. We're doing metrics.
They learn practical life skills, which is not taught. We have all these kids coming out of school and they have no brains.
Training. No home training.
No common sense.
They
can't boil water. It's insanity. We're not teaching kids skills to live on. And then, like what you were saying, all these programs that are available now for homeschooling parents are online. They have the one program that like the teacher's there like in a classroom and the kids are interacting like they would be in a classroom. All these programs are valuable. New York State doesn't allow them because they don't want parents to homeschool. Even I know this because I looked into it.
They want the money from the state. And I looked into this. And the students per child in 2016 was $22,000 per child. So
where's my check?
That.
Where's my check? Yeah, okay. Where's my check? Because I'm teaching my children right now.
Exactly. Okay. So I'm a big supporter of Trump's school choice and the federal money following the student. I totally wholehearted, and everybody's got a different story, but that's the answer for everybody right now. But you have to make that choice. You know, where are you going to send your kid to school? Because, you know, $22,000, well, maybe that can get your kid to private school for a year and that's all your kid needs. But somebody else might have great programs online, but their kids still need speech therapy. Well, guess what? You just paid for a speech therapist for a year. So I think that it's critical, but parents need to understand that I think we're going to go digital no matter what, you know, because our money's going to change. School's going to change. There's a push for this. The collapse is like kind of meant to happen. And I don't want to be like the fear monger, like, oh, you know, like, because some people aren't ready to put their head around it until it actually happens. I'm trying to be ahead of the curve on it. And I'm trying to really advocate, like, listen, I hear you're frustrated about remote learning, you know, not logging in, or you got to log in at this time and it's so hectic with your work schedule. Cut it out. Stop the insanity. Right. Take control back of your kids' lives. Have that freedom. Jesus, we don't have to get up at 8 o'clock every day. If we have if someone's not feeling so good, we just sleep until 10, then you did. Okay. So you just start your day a little later. It doesn't have to just be so rigid. And the flexibility in it is priceless. You know, it's really not a lot of work that goes into the reporting end of it. You just need someone to show you what to do. That's it.
Well, I couldn't understand why we have already functioning online schooling systems throughout the country. New York knew they were going to do like a bunch of remote stuff in multiple districts across the state. Why wouldn't you essentially follow those models that are already set up and they're proven to work? Instead of this madness where you're throwing teachers 2 days before school starts and they're a reading teacher saying, okay, no, you're going to go teach this class and have 26 online kids.
Right.
And then two, to go back to what you were saying about like a child being homeschooled needing speech therapy, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the state, the county you're in, is still responsible to give your child all those services, whether they're homeschooled or not. You just have to fight for it.
And that's incorrect. Because Davida could not play any sports. She couldn't get a book. She couldn't get a lick. If you choose to homeschool, you're out of the public school system. They don't allow you to use any.
My aunt did that, and she ended up getting a laptop and all kinds of stuff for her kids when she homeschooled. But this was also in the 90s.
Because in June of 2019, 27,000 healthy children were kicked out of public school in New York State because of the removal of religious exemption to vaccination. These weren't sick children carrying disease. These were healthy kids in school. Some of them had IEPs. Some of them were getting services. And so when they didn't comply with getting their children 72 shots in order to go to school all of a sudden, they opted to homeschool. And the school districts have cut them of their services high and dry. Not even, you know.
That's insane. So, I mean, it's obviously probably changed. Like I said, this was in the 90s. So, in two, I wasn't really thinking about the fact that they did the religious exemption, trying to strong arm people into doing what they want.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, we have COVID right now. Are we really worried about the measles?
I mean, most people probably don't even want a COVID vaccination. You know, let's be honest, no matter what side of the fence we are, a lot of people are like, fuck no, I'm never getting that. Excuse my language. But seriously, you know, forget about it. You can think, I mean, there's other people who are like, yeah, sure, line me up. I'll be a test guinea pig. Like, great, good for you. You know, like I've seen the horrors that have happened behind vaccinations.
I've gotten a flu shot twice. And it could just be coincidence. I don't get sick very often. I'll get a head cold, but that's it. But both years that I got a flu shot, I got deathly ill and was in bed for days. And it's never happened.
Same story, Jeff.
Yeah.
Everyone has the same story. But when are people going to say, oh, you're going to always have the medical indoctrinated, literally medical indoctrinated people who are supposed to be the professionals that only studied vaccination in med school for a quick, or, you know, their RN training for a quick summary in 20 minutes. Meanwhile, there's people who are parents who have emotional, this is their child. They're researching, digging what happened after I got this shot, what ingredients, you know, people aren't freaking retarded. Okay. So it infuriates me when I see medical professionals advocate for this shit, because there's so many medical professionals that say, hell no, don't get your flu shot.
Well,
you know,
look at how hard people attacked Jenny McCarthy. And the thing is the therapies that she used worked for her family. So was she wrong? Is she irresponsible?
How can she care if they don't hate her? If they hate her, how could she care her son is healthy?
I mean, that backlash that you get when you're getting death threats, like that's got to be tough. But Yeah, like I agree with her. And the thing is there's a lot of stuff in the diet and avoiding the what's that one dye like that's in the M&Ms or whatever, the red dye or yellow or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
food
and
coloring dyes.
giving your kids processed food. My children do not eat processed food. They don't get juice. They get milk or water, and it's 90% water. And they, you know, maybe can have a glass of milk a day. Like I don't let them have processed stuff. Like, look at the size of me. I know what it does. So I'm not going to repeat that cycle. And two, coming from adoption, there's so many behavioral management issues that once I changed their diet when they first came, their behavior improved greatly. I don't need to have a science degree to know that there's a correlation between kids eating crap and their behavior. So I don't know that Jenny McCarthy wasn't that far off, because a lot of it was diet for her. And two, there are so many parents, so we just discount all those people that after their child had a vaccination, they developed symptoms of autism.
My daughter, Kalina, who's 4 years old, and this is where I really decided to stop it, okay? And we got the Tdap vaccination for her, and the next day she had like whooping cough. Like, I'm a breastfeeding mother and we go nowhere. I came out of the house to come to the freaking doctor's appointment because you were telling me I gotta get the shot.
They don't wipe shit down in the doctor's office.
So I freaking come to get the shot. And now then when I call and say, was this happen to be a live vaccine? Because my daughter is like wheezing like horribly right now, you know? And she says, well, she must have already picked it up from somewhere. It's just a coincidence. And I was like, you're fired. I was so mad because like, you're not going to tell me that. And then from there, after that, she got better in a couple days and stuff, you know, but she had eczema and she still has it. And she had beautiful porcelain skin up until that. You're not going to tell me when it's a freaking side effect and you're going to deny it to me. I'll never get proof of it in writing. It won't be documented. You're wasting your time and money with half of these quacks that call themselves doctors. You know, you're better off going to see a chiropractor or something that
every pediatrician's office I ever been in is filthy. They're filthy. The toys are all dirty and grimy. And I'm like, this is a doctor's office?
The floors. Oh my God.
Throw this crap out. The beads. And do you people ever come out from behind the desk to clean this stuff?
Where's the state shutting them down? Where's the state coming and fighting
all the hospitals bought up the family practices.
We'd be getting charged with something and looking like
yes, we would. You can't have anything run down in a daycare from the state, but you go to a pediatrician's office and the toys can be grimy. Where if a licensor came in that and saw that in your daycare, you would get written up.
Yeah,
you're right. It's insanity.
Okay,
and you know they're not going out there every night cleaning.
We went everywhere with
didn't
this.
We have a topic
to
talk
about your story, Jeff. We didn't even talk about. We only started to talk on the boys, and then we went off the bottom of the ocean and just kept sailing with this one. But
it's just like uncensored radio. Catch us Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Jeff is a Democrat and I'm a Republican, and look at how much we agree.
I wouldn't say,
okay, guys.
I'm not really a Democrat. I'm fiscally conservative, socially a Democrat. There's been a lot of Republican presidents I've liked, and it's just for me personally, I can't with him. I call him Peach Blossom. I'm just not a fan.
And you know, and I love him. I love him. Yeah. Trump 2020.
And you know what? I'll never sit there, like, even on my show, you know, and I'm like, I'm like, you know, dementia grandpa. Like, I can't I can't bring myself to go say go Biden, like, with any kind of, I don't feel good about that.
Good. Thank God. You give me hope.
Like, I don't feel good about any of them.
So vote Joe Jorgensen.
Yes.
Keep the Libertarian Party alive.
Joe, I can't handle any of it. Yeah,
so let's get back to the kids. So what the heck? Okay. So I explained your situation. You're staying in a family's house. COVID now, September comes. we're remote learning. No money, things have changed. We're in a pandemic. The kids are completely remote learning in school. So you extend where you're staying and decide to hopefully maybe make a little bit of money at some point here if anybody gets a room.
Yeah, I mean,
home, right?
I didn't even have to. You know what I mean?
You
it was
didn't
just like,
have
well,
to,
if I'm here. Right.
But the fact that it got brought up pissed me off because who cares?
Well,
You
I
own
told
the
them.
house, you pay taxes on the house.
Right.
And you're remote learning. So what grounds could they possibly give you to demand your presence or to say that they would take the kids out of school? How can they do that?
Well, they didn't even demand my presence. They just, this one principal called because there was, I gave my mail temporary forwarded. Something happened. They put my child's pre-adoptive name on the page they sent out and it got returned. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense why. I called the post office. It was an error. They said that there was a mail carrier, a substitute that's been there or whatever. So that last name's never been associated with my house, or it's been forever and there's a mail carrier. That could have just been the accident. And,
right.
I'm the moron I'm not lying about anything. So when the secretary called and asked, I said, well, we're out of state right now. And I couldn't even hear what she said. So I just kept talking. And then I realized she was gone when the man came on the phone and was like, explain to me what's going on. Like, not in a nice way, not professional, and I'm not, I mean, I got nasty with him in the end. I did. Like, I'm not going to say I didn't. I'm pretty sure I called him bro. Like I was and I hate the word bro, but I was so infuriated with this man. Because he's like, if I go to your house right now, who's going to be there? And I'm like so caught off guard by this because I'd already talked to the superintendent of the schools to have all this other stuff arranged, to have my friend pick up the materials because they weren't letting anybody but the parent pick up the materials. Mm-hmm. So I called the superintendent right up and said, here's the deal. I'm down south. Like I'm not coming back right now. Probably come back in October, maybe, whatever. Can I have my girlfriend pick this stuff up? Yeah, okay, no problem. You got to send me an email, say you're here because of COVID or whatever, which I'm like, well, I'm not really here because of COVID. I mean, I am in the sense that the kids are getting to remote learn. So I'm taking advantage of that situation. But I didn't know there was a time limit on how long that I needed to be in my house for the school year. So that guy, the principal, we had our exchange. And I said, you need to check with the superintendent in Seward because they've known about this since day one and there hasn't been a problem. Mm-hmm. So I know it was on the 13th. I had a missed call from the school district. So I kind of assumed it would be Jeff, the superintendent. I call his office and talk to Pam, who at this point now, we're on a first name basis. She knows me when I call.
Right.
And she's like, what's up? And I'm like, I got a missed call. And I go through the whole story of what just happened with Ronnie, the principal. And she's like, what? Just like he said, what? Even she was kind of mind blown. And I was like, can you have Jeff call me? Because somebody called, I don't know where it is. I'll check Seward. So I called Seward, told them the whole story. They didn't call me either. So I missed another call like Wednesday or the next day or whatever. I missed another call from them because I'm busy teaching my children. You're calling during the day. I don't know, So I same thing again. Okay, who called? Because she's not leaving voicemails. It was my birthday earlier in the week. I'd been getting voicemails all week long. Why was she the only one? She's like, it just rang and rang and rang and then hung up.
Right, because that's so
funny. Yeah, like everybody else has been leaving messages and my mailbox isn't full. So, okay. But the letter basically stated because I Airbnb my house out that shows that I have no intentions of coming back to Auburn and that I had until this coming Friday. What is it, the 26th on Friday or something? Whatever this Friday is, that they were giving me a week to get my stuff together and get my kids registered down here.
The 23rd?
Not once did she ask if I was, whatever this coming Friday is.
The 23rd.
Because this all just happened in such a short time frame. So never did it ask if I'd be willing to come back or, she's just going on all assumptions here. Like, Lady, you didn't talk to me. And this has never been an issue. And instead of calling and saying like, hey, are you coming back, leaving a message, or sending an email saying like, I need to get more information from you, you basically send me a letter saying, the kids are gone as of next Friday. You have a week. Like, Aiden has an IEP and had a one-on-one aide in school. Like, I don't have any of the kids' records down here because I didn't move. I don't have their birth certificates, their adoption paperwork. You think I can pull that off in a week, number one, if I had to.
So what happens when you go home? They think you're going to re-register the kids or something?
No, that they weren't going to kick them out if I went home. And I said, I can come home for a week, take off for 2 weeks, come home for a week and take off for 2 weeks, and that's okay? Is that what you're trying to tell me? And she wouldn't answer the question. So I said, what you're telling me is parents can't travel while their children are remote learning. She's like, well, you need to be sleeping in your bed in your home.
Oh, bull crap. So what happened?
That's what they're saying their lawyer said.
Wow. Okay. So
yeah.
Update. So you got your post went wild, you know, your vent, you told your story. I know like lots of people heard it.
People were so confused.
How the hell did my dad hear about it? I don't even know. But I didn't know my dad was on Facebook like that. But I guess.
I know. Why?
And so did you get a podcast?
I have not heard from them. No. I know that the reporter, I had a couple of them reach out, but the one that I ended up saying, okay, because I'm like, you're going to plug my show, right? You know, like, she called them and called me after she talked to them. And they would not give her, they couldn't point to any rules that specified why. And they basically were kind of like, no comment because it involves the student. Well, no, you're asking about a situation. Like, and obviously, and I did make it a point too at the end to tell the lady that I'll come back, but I'm calling my lawyer as soon as I get off the phone. I'm going to put this on social media. And if I get contacted by the news, I'm going to let them know what's going on.
Good.
And it was just dead silent on the phone.
Good.
Nothing. And I said, I'll see you on the 26th. And she started talking, and I did hang up on her.
I would have too. It's better than cussing her out.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I was getting to the end of my rope. Like, I'm just done. I'm not going to start swearing at this lady. I'm not going to, you know, act foolish. Like, it's time for me to go.
Right.
Because this is just, I'm like, you see that this is crazy. You're telling me I have to sleep in my home in order for my children to be registered in school. They're remote learning. If they had to be in the building, we would have been home. If you say in January, the children we're not doing remote anymore, that the only option is to do hybrid where they have to be in the building 2 days a week, then I would have to be home. I wouldn't be here.
Right. But you don't have to be home right now.
Oh, I shouldn't have to, no.
Right.
But yeah, that's what they're trying to tell me.
You still own your home. Your house is not up for sale.
My internet's still, I'm paying the bills. You know what I mean? It's all fully functioning.
And so this is why it's really imperative, right? If you decide to say, you know, the hell with this, I'm not playing this game, and you go ahead and fight for this or whatever, right? Which you should. You should definitely get a lawyer. You should definitely.
Oh, I have one.
Be vocal about this, right? So you need to do that. But no matter the outcome, you know, look about for this period of time, right? Are you gonna go home Friday or are you not? You're gonna try to fight this, right?
Well, oh no, you know why I was thinking the 26th? Because I told them I would be home by the 26th. Even though they wanted the kids to be done sooner. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna cater to you. I got stuff I need to do. Like, I'll get, you know. So I said I would be home on the 26th. But again, like, I'm supposed to go to the office, but I have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Quarantine for 2 weeks, right.
So you come into my house to see to see if I'm there?
Hello, I'm walking in my front door.
Yeah.
Oh my, they smoke blunts, they smoke cigars, blunts as big as cigars. Did you see that? Parents, when you're teaching your kids and you're clicking the mouse, well, make sure your cigarettes and your blunts aren't in the camera.
Is that a thing? Oh, I believe it.
I saw some teacher in Florida talking about it. It made me laugh.
Yeah, I had the one teacher saying, she's seen parents naked, the kids are in the car, they're at different people's house constantly, or that there's multiple
There's a gun in
kids
the background, a BB gun. Oh
in
my
the
God.
same class, and the kids are all together in one location on one Zoom.
What about the kid who got in trouble for the Trump flag?
I didn't read the article, but I saw the headline, and I just kind of started giggling like,
yeah, I know you hate Trump, but come on, it's still bullshit.
oh no, right. I'm just like, really? They're gonna the kid got in trouble because he had a Trump flag in the back? Like,
mind your own business. I think it's invasive, number one. Like what we're doing here, like over Zoom, someone could hack this and see us and get our coordinates, right?
I was on like Rosie's
about that for
Zoom,
school,
and they were putting porn. Right.
This is what it should be for remote learning, unless you're showing videos. You don't need to see our kids. The kids.
Oh no, they're
need to
very
see you.
insistent. If the kids are not on camera, I've heard teachers, they're telling, no, you need to turn on your camera.
I think that's wrong. I don't think that the children should be on camera. I don't think our school system.
Well, and here's the thing: they're all recorded. So then you're recording children, and because my kids' account, both of them got hacked.
Wow!
Within the first week of school,
Thanks,
little Google
for
Classroom.
reimagining New York State's education. It's working out so well, just like Common Core. Go ahead.
Well, if you look on my Facebook profile, I shared a letter from a woman who was a retired teacher of 30 years and how disgusted she was. And what they're putting these teachers through.
I know.
They're not, you're not giving them any direction. Nobody's communicating. And that too was something through all this that I found out. Every time I talked to somebody from the school district, I had to explain the whole story over again. And they were so mind blown. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like, it's not like I'm rich or anything. I just have a life that allows me to do this. I'm sorry that you don't, and you can't comprehend this. It's not like I have a vacation house in Florida that I go to every year and that I'm trying to go stay there for 6 months.
But who cares if you did?
Right. Well, the kids are remote
learning and you have a vacation house in Florida and you're kind of sick of New York shit right now. Why can't you go to Florida until the restrictions let up? If you're remote learning, there should be no reason that you can't.
Right. And one of the things the district says is on their website about keeping kids with their consistency of learning. And I'm really curious to see what they have to say when this story breaks. It'll be this morning for the people watching. Hello. If the district's going to call, and I'll just send them an email if they do contact me saying you need to contact my attorney and everything needs to be in writing.
Right.
Because they're not, and I did, I don't know if the lady's going to share parts of the email from Camille or not, but it's there.
Well, good.
Right? And people were like, how did they tell? They're tracking you. They're tracking you. How did they know? And I'm like, well, I told them. Why wouldn't I? What's the big deal?
Right.
My kids are remote learning, full-time remote learning. Why do you care where we're sleeping right now? I'm not moving. I have no interest in moving to Missouri. Not that there's anything wrong with this place, but it's a little bit like Schitt's Creek. The Blouse Barn's up the street in this community. You know what I mean? We don't have a store. You can't get groceries, but you can go to the Blouse Barn. Whatever. In the neighborhood. It's just crazy. It's insane to me that they're trying to dictate. And then, okay, well, tell me how long I need to be home for and how long I can go away for. And they wouldn't give me an answer. Why? And then, I'm seeing all these people commenting on this post. She's like, last week we were in Boston, then we were in New York City or whatever, and then they're going to Canada. Other people are in the Adirondacks. There's people down in Florida right now. Like, are you going after everybody, or is it because I was honest?
Parents, if you're listening right now, you need to embrace this and listen and take heed. You really need to take charge back of your children's education and seriously consider homeschooling. It is not you teaching your kid like that all day, every day. Your kids learn from a computer, and you don't have to plop them in front of a computer every day either. You can pick and choose which parts you want to do, hands-on or all the way. There's so many options that you don't have to pay for. And in doing so, you take control back of your life from all of this insanity, from getting equipment to work, from getting the logins to work, to connecting to Wi-Fi, to having stupid stuff like this, because another woman was supposed to be joining me tonight who just had the superintendent of North Syracuse School District show up at her door with a social worker wanting to know what their child was learning, because she decided that she wasn't sending her back.
I had one of the people that are in the school system. I don't want to, I don't want her to get in trouble. Yeah. She told that was the text I got, that right now the district is sending principals and social workers door to door because people are not putting their kids on these Zoom meetings. She's like, I don't understand why they're worried about you when they have much more pressing issues to be dealing with.
Right.
Like, my kids are on there every day. Their work's done early. Like, we don't have Zoom meetings on Friday. So I try to get all of our work that needs to be sent in done, because you have to take pictures of everything and send it into the teacher, done by Thursday. But every day, regardless if you have the work done or not, you have to, like, sign in and click attendance.
Right.
So even if their work's done for the whole day, you have to do that or you get in trouble.
Right.
So I go in and I do that, but then on Fridays, like, they'll get to play like the fun learning games that the teachers have for them. Like, so that they're not doing nothing, but they don't have to sit there and do like the actual paperwork or the complicated work, where this to them is fun, but they're still learning, and it's actually genius. And the thing is you were saying earlier, like, this is kind of where the world's going, right? Technology is so ingrained in these kids that this is second nature to them. I'm like, my kid, Aiden, that would be in a 15-1, who hated learning before and would drag his feet, wouldn't do math, he couldn't read. He's like reading complete sentences right now, just from September to October, because he's having fun. He doesn't hate school anymore. This is a trip to him. It is a riot, and okay, so now what? I'm supposed to just magically get all the I don't really know what the district wants. Like, why didn't you tell me that at the beginning of the year that there was a time limit?
Right. Exactly. And how did you know what the time limit? What if they said October 1st, we're coming back to school? You'd have been here going back to school, correct?
Right. Yeah. Had they called and said, like, all the kids, we're not going to do remote learning, because in Auburn, they created an online learning academy with its own principal, because there were so many families that opted in to full-time remote because they didn't want to deal with it.
Right.
I mean, because then they were looking, well, okay, your two kids, they're now going to be in two different buildings. So do you want them to go on the same 2 days or the opposite 2 days? And then I would still have to teach them 3 days a week either way. So why would I even bother choosing, okay, here, go risk yourself and be a guinea pig and go, hopefully it works out in school. Or
have to go off your schedule to comply for that, when the other 3 days you're just relaxed. Versus, I gotta be scheduled this time. Oh, get on, log on.
I'm just gonna do full remote. I'm not gonna yank, and then I have to no, because right now, I mean, the teacher is great for both of them. I'm really blessed with that, but I still have to be there. And I have a 4-year-old that's not in school, so he needs me. Like, I'm trying to clean, make breakfast, lunch, because we're an hour behind here too. So that was another thing. So people are like, oh, well, you want special, like, I didn't ask. It's not like I'm sorry. Like, I know you're starting Zoom at 9:15, but we're in Missouri, and that's really 8:15 for us. Like, could you move that?
Yeah. Tough time. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I get it. But what paper is breaking the story tomorrow? Or is that a surprise?
No, the Syracuse Post or whatever it is.
Syracuse.com?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She said it starts at 6 a.m.
Who wrote it? Who did the story?
Oh, you would ask me that right now. You'd have to go look on my Twitter at Jeffrey Emmette, and you can find it.
Perfect.
It was a very nice woman. Very nice woman.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm glad that you got to share your story, and I hope that you obviously prevail in this situation. And also, seriously, what I said, I mean it for you too, as my friend. Like, look at it and help me fight here for this federal funding to follow the student, because you need to make the choices what's best for your children. And right now, these schools are failing our children in a gross way. And maybe not yours. I mean, some people are happy with their schools in the situation, but
I mean, there's things that are lacking, but yeah. I feel like compared to the horror stories I've heard about some teachers, I feel
right. It's obviously working out, but because it's working out, you want to come screw this up too? Because everything else is screwed up, right? So let's just hope that I saw some things that people said they looked up the codes, and there's nothing that says that they could do this. So whatever lawyer they have, and
even the little blurb that she sent me, it talked about divorced parents and kids splitting time or whatever, but it didn't say anything about the situation I'm in. Like, so she's like, I'm like, lady, I did daycare for 10 years. I know how to read a reg, and I'm usually really good at it. I usually know them better than most people, like, because I don't play. And I'm reading this, and what are you even interpreting? It doesn't say that I have to sleep in my home to be a resident.
Right.
I didn't move. I didn't change my physical address. I just renewed my New York State driver's license to that address. I'm not moving. I have no intentions of moving. I was taking advantage of the fact that my kids were full-time remote learning and letting them spend time with their family that they could see, that we had to quarantine for the 2 weeks we got here, and enjoy warmer weather. And we're out in the mountains where they can be outside. Enjoy the golf cart. Go down to the lake. You know, they're at home. We're in a city. What am I there for? Right. Why do I have to be in my building? And then you want me, as the COVID cases are getting worse now, you want me to go driving 18 hours with 3 kids.
To show up and say hi. COVID. Well, Jeffrey, thank you for coming on tonight and talking to me about this. There's so many stories. I just really want to give people's stories a voice so that they can be heard, so people know that they're like not alone going through all of these shifts and changes, and to get the support that we need as people to really, buck this system as it is, because enough. Like, come on, we're all going through enough. Our lives have already been drastically shifted and shape shifted, It's enough, like, of all the petty things to do, So I support you. I thank you for coming on. You guys can listen to Uncensored Radio on Tuesday and Thursday nights. Jeff, you go ahead and plug your stuff up.
YouTube.com/Uncensored Radio.
There you go.
With Katrina A. Johnson from Nickelodeon's All That.
Hey. And so.
She'll kill me.
Well, I thank you guys, and I'm still part of the Uncensored family, and you guys can check me out on Tuesday night over there. Going head to head with some, I'm definitely going to be the odd one out because I'm the Trump-loving Republican, and most of the views are definitely different on the panel. But
I don't think they care about the Republican part. Yeah.
And then, I probably won't do another CNY voice until after the election, unless something dramatic happens again. But I thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And Jeffrey, thanks for sharing your story. I'll make sure that I share the news article when it pushes out tomorrow morning too. Thank you guys.